Hello everyone, my name is Manish Raj, and this is my presentation for the Information Retrieval class project. My chosen topic is collaborative filtering and its utilization for improving search quality. The project motivation comes about as a result of my long-term interest in recommender systems. It's quite interesting to see how one's own activities, as well as social network, can have an impact on user experience and recommendations that are provided. Collaborative filtering is the underlying algorithm that is used for providing recommendations and has widespread usage in web applications. It's very highly likely that a website that you visited in the last few days, such as Netflix or Amazon, or in fact any other online shopping website, utilized some sort of collaborative filtering algorithm to recommend results. There was also the Netflix Prize, which was a competition that was organized by Netflix to see if any of the participants could beat Netflix's own recommender algorithm. So that really brings me to the question, what about using recommendations to improve search? Some of the relevant literature that is used for this project includes the empirical analysis of predictive algorithms for collaborative filtering, which is a research paper, as well as the online project Recommender Systems, a computer science comprehensive exercise that was carried out at Carleton College. So, coming to an overview of collaborative filtering. Collaborative filtering refers to a set of algorithms that are used in recommender systems, and the underlying principle is that the user rating of an item is likely to be similar to other users with similar ranking patterns. So, if you were to determine that another set of users had very similar behavior to you, then one could predict that your rating of an item would be similar to the rating that was predicted by the entire set of users. And the actual filtering process is the process by which actions of different users can be analyzed to predict actions of the current user. The data collection in the collaborative filtering algorithm and implementation can be either explicit or implicit. Explicit collection could refer to, for example, actually collecting user rankings for different items. Filtering itself, that is the act of making predictions, can be active or passive. Active filtering looks at a current user's history in addition to looking at similar users' behavioral patterns. Then there's also user-centric versus item-centric collaborative filtering. A user-centric collaborative filtering approach predicts rankings for an item based on other users' similar rankings, whereas an item-centric approach actually looks for other similar items and predicts rankings based on the similarity and rankings for the other items. And ultimately, there are two other sort of approaches to collaborative filtering, which are memory-based versus model-based. A memory-based approach is an approach that uses the entire data set to make every prediction, and therefore uses a lot of memory. A model-based approach, on the other hand, constructs a model based on some sort of training data and uses that to make predictions on test data, which could be considered, for example, a user and their desire to get a ranking for a particular item. So as mentioned, the memory-based algorithms are a huge subset of the collaborative filtering algorithms that are used. And they use the entire database of rankings and user information to make a prediction. And therefore, all this information needs to be loaded into memory and is used for every single prediction. That is, all the data is used every time. One way of doing this is, for example, a memory-based user approach, where every user's rankings are taken in and put into a database. And then what happens is, in order to make the predictions for a ranking for a particular user, you find users that are similar to the active user and then utilize their preferences to predict rankings by some sort of weighting of the rankings. The user similarity could be computed, for example, by things like user vector cosines, where the rankings are used in order to determine the similarity between the ranking vectors. And the ultimate prediction is dependent on the votes of each user. So the weights or the rankings given by each user based on their similarity are then sort of combined to make a common prediction. A model-based approach, on the other hand, uses a machine learning approach to build a model based on the data set. And so this can be thought of as a training data, which is used to create a model. the model that is created is used to make predictions for test data. One method of using this would be a item-based collaborative filtering approach where all the different items that are in the database are stored and the item similarities are determined. Then when a new item needs to be ranked for a user, based on the user's history and the item, similar items are determined and then a ranking total can be predicted. Again, so the advantage of the model-based approach is that one doesn't have to retrieve and process the entire data set every time, which could lead to benefits in terms of memory and processing power. Model-based approaches can, however, be more complicated to implement versus memory-based approaches. In this project, both approaches are used. A memory-based approach is used that compares user ratings, and a model-based approach is used that uses item ratings. Now, what about utilizing collaborative filtering for search optimization? The idea behind this is that, well, if you have a collaborative filtering system, it can predict the ratings for a user for a particular item. Then what could be done is a weighting scheme could be utilized with weight given to search results in order of decreasing predicted ranking for those particular items that are sort of uncovered in a search. Now the question is, can weighting these search results with additional weight based on predicted rank improve the quality of information retrieval? And that brings me to the experimental approach for this project. The movie lens dataset as well as a CMU movie corpus are used. Collaborative filtering algorithms are implemented in Java for user memory-based and item model-based approaches. User rankings are obtained from the movie lens database, and movie summaries are obtained from the CMU movie summary corpus. The movie summaries are used for search purposes, whereas the user rankings are used for predictive collaborative filtering purposes. The experiment is to actually sort of try and use different weights of predicted results to see if precision and recall of search is affected. And search is implemented using a standard vector cosine approach. So what are the preliminary results that I have seen so far? Well, first of all, I was able to implement the memory-based and model-based approaches in Java for the data sets and was able to get predictive sort of rankings for the movies based on rankings that the users had provided. The vector cosine based search algorithm was implemented as well for the movie corpus. And then what was done was a weighting scheme was experimented with in order to try and see if precision and recall could be affected by using the weights of memory-based or model-based approach. Now the thing is, what was observed is that either while using a memory-based or a model-based approach, there is a decrease in precision and recall that is observed in the search results when trying to add in weights that are predicted. And this can be explained by the fact that a predicted ranking is not really the same as a more relevant ranking, which really means that when you predict a ranking using collaborative filtering, you're sort of predicting what the user would predict for a particular item. That, however, is not really linked to whether the movie that is being highly ranked is relevant to the topic or not. Which is what really explains the decrease in precision and recall when adding in weights from such a collaborative filtering approach. More experiments are yet to be carried out, but the experiments and the observations that have been observed so far are actually, they make a lot of sense. And I would say that, well, while a collaborative filtering system is a great method for recommending items to a user based on previous actions, sort of a user-based recommender search approach is not necessarily the best approach because it is not usually the most relevant or the most precise approach towards search results. That is all for now. I'm looking forward to completing my experiments, and there will be more in the project report. Thank you so much, and have a good day.